Mayday! All hands on deck. This is Kelly J. Patriot. Mayday! Mayday! All hands on deck. Wake up, America.
Time. I forget the echo. Welcome everyone to another episode of Liberty Report Live with Kelly J. Patriot. You may not have seen your daily videos for the last couple of days, and that is because Kelly J. Patriot and myself, not only do we attend the convoy, but Kelly was like leading the convoy, but then we went straight out, took a drone out to Las Vegas, Nevada, and we got the most amazing content we can't wait to bring to you from the Super Bowl of just a bunch of amazing people, patriots, atheists, left, right, all different people, all walks of life that we were able to listen, record, and now we get to bring it to you. So it's pretty good stuff. But today, without further ado, one of my most favorite people in the whole entire world, and today's guest, and it's going to be an ongoing segment, as many of you may know, which is called Running for the Hills. So let me go ahead and throw today's show over. Oh, did I tell you who it was? Maybe I even forgot to say. Tom Althouse, my favorite person in the world. And what we're going to be doing is amazing. So let me go ahead and hand it on over to your host of the show tonight on Liberty Report Live with Kelly J. Patriot. Here's Kelly J. Patriot.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. As Chadwick mentioned, we had a busy couple of weeks with the border convoy, Super Bowl in Las Vegas, Patriots in the streets. Great content, great couple weeks, but we're now back in studio here, and we have a special guest and special segment of Liberty Report Live with Kelly J. Patriot, and we're so happy to have with us once again Tom Althouse with the special segment, Running for the Hills. And this is rabbit hole number 1 regarding Neuralink. And we've all heard that word. We've heard a little bit about the technology. We've heard a little bit about the people involved, but as with everything else nowadays, do we know the truth? Do we know what the reality is with respect to the development of that technology? And today we'll be looking at the background, the foundation of Neuralink, the players involved, the terminology, which is very important in terms of how the terminology developed as the story developed and the players involved with that story. And ultimately, as we know, this was utilized in various movies and also TV series as it was being rolled out, developed as the industry was trying to create a narrative as to how it was rolled out and developed. But tonight, we are going back with Tom Althouse, who we had a prior segment, and we discussed where he began and what his background is, and that is he is the screenwriter that did The Immortals, the screenplay for The Immortals, which, as we know, was turned into a movie by the name of The Matrix. And Tom, we're so happy to have you once again, and we'll give a little background as to what happened there and how we got to this initial place with this technology. Welcome, Tom, down in Texas. God bless you. How you doing, Tom?
Doing great, Kelly, and thank you both for having me on. This is great to be here.
Well, I'll tell you what, with regard to The Immortals, as we discussed before, and as the screenplay clearly shows, the original reference and terminology with regard to what became Neuralink was the enhancer or brain enhancer as you had in the screenplay. Can you tell us a little bit about how that began and developed?
Absolutely. I felt that God had just led that, given it to put it into the screenplay as the main tool to bring about a one world order as far as the story goes. It was a warning that the Neuralink, the neural enhancer, the brain enhancer would be one that links us all, where an architect can control even thoughts and a library of memories and everything that we choose and do, even erase memories and alter memories.
So that concept was in your original screenplay that was the Immortals. And then what happened with that screenplay once again?
I was asked to pitch it to Bonaventura of Warner Brothers, who was the exec who prided himself with discovering new talent at the time, new writers, and he had the script a hand ahead of time. And so he's asking me questions all through it. He said, "We're making this as a revolutionary." It was pitched up in New York, and he was so excited. He went to a bank in Albany and bragged they had this greatest story. He told me it'd be revolutionary, that they were making it.
And as we know, that screenplay became a big movie. In what was that movie, Tom?
The Matrix. In fact, they just altered the letters of Immortals around and came up with Matrix. And you'll find they were seeding that and getting that ready to steal, even back with Carrie Ann Moss doing a Matrix series in 1993. When I submitted, they immediately did a little show called The Matrix with her in it and the guy who plays Seraphim.
Exactly. Now, let me ask you this. Also, this was utilized in other shows and other a TV series that we all know also, and that was Star Trek. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right. Originally, it was submitted through Pat Robertson's organization to Universal Studios and Disney. Universal Studios also had Joel Silver associated with it. Christopher Nolan was brought in out of school, film school, to Universal Studios. And so they had it directly given to them, both Disney and Universal Studios.
Now, let me ask you this. Star Trek, though, put a little spin on what you would utilize as enhancer or brain enhancer. And what did Star Trek Discovery do to move this concept along?
They were informed on exactly what it meant from Bonaventura, who has studios right near theirs, that it was going to be something that would change the world. And that's what Bonaventura was commenting on at the pitch session. So they understood that neural enhancer would be something that would totally advance us beyond the World Wide Web, beyond the creation of the telephone, beyond anything, radio, you name it. Neural enhancer would be something that would leap and bound humanity ahead, but they had different plans for it. So they knew exactly what the ramifications were, all the downsides. They just wanted to promote the good side to get people to jump on board.
Gotcha. And I think we have a picture here, a slide of the use in Star Trek Discovery of the neural enhancer.
That's right. In 2017, when they did the series, they had the case sufficiently thrown by 2016. So they were going to go ahead and just ram it home and get this plan. They were antsy to get the one world society going and to have control over every person. So they start to first put it in plain sight in 2017 in this very Star Trek series that you've clipped from.
And Chadwick, will you go ahead and show that? Put it up on the screen. We appreciate it.
Okay.
And Tom, we have the first slide up there with regard to the neural enhancer.
Right. And that's what's so, yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
No, go ahead, Tom.
Well, that's what's so amazing is right away, they're using the very terminology I had in The Immortals as the writer of The Immortals, the Matrix story. So you're seeing enhancer used. This is very, very important because that's not what Elon Musk is going to end up claiming. The main player is given credit for it. What you have is enhancer. That's from the pages of The Immortals. That's exactly what I was led to put down. So you have enhancer here in Star Trek right on the screen in 2017.
And then also there was in terms of terminology, they also had another word for it, and they called it Neuralink, Neural link, also in one of the episodes. Is that correct?
That's right. They were going to trademark and rebrand it. So instead of enhancer, as I had it, the original author of the tech, they're changing it to Neuralink before they give it to Elon Musk to claim.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's huge.
And Chadwick, I think we also have a picture we can also show from Star Trek Discovery that will also show in one of the episodes Neuralink, and that followed the use of the neural enhancer in a prior episode. Is that correct, Tom?
That's absolutely right. So you'll see neuroenhancer. They rub it home in the author's face because that's exactly what I called it. And then they go for Neuralink, and they change the terminology in the very episode. It was either that very episode or the very next one. So they're rubbing in the face in plain sight. Here's the author's original concept, and now we're going to twist it before we give it to Elon Musk. But then they had to groom Elon Musk. But what's so crazy about the next slide with Neuro Enhancer again shown is that they're saying exactly what their intention is, exactly what I warned through art, what it would do. And it says that basically the architect's plans will be complete through the Neuro Enhancer. Exactly what I had taken from me. So that will complete the one world order and having control over every member of society, every member of humanity will be controlled through this device. And they're bragging about it in the very Star Trek series where they're rebranding it. It's huge. It's absolutely huge.
And going back to 1999 when The Matrix came out, how are they utilizing the technology in that movie?
What they're doing is they're doing the same thing with the memories of my character, my Neo. He's using the memories of the Smith downloaded into himself through the enhancer to be able to find the Cortex building and the dome. And they actually use the Cortex building and the dome. So what you have is this whole thing where he's using the memories, but they simplify it. We can talk about later about how that actually transpires and how Neo suffers having to utilize the memories of Smith, not knowing exactly what he's looking for, and how that applied to another film series, another film that the Wachowskis used after our case was thrown.
Gotcha. Now let me ask you this. Going back to Star Trek again, they bring up the terms red pill and red angel. How does that tie in?
Well, Red Angel is very fascinating. They're making red good, blue bad. In the original work, The Immortals, the blue pill is the good pill, the red pill is the bad pill. The red pill is based on the blood of the children. They even have Sophia Stewart, the one that is first claimant out of Warner Brothers in USC, saying the red pill is the good pill based on the blood of the children, the blue is the bad, to counter me. But the blue pill was the author's eye, blue eyes, blue pill. And it is what the underground manufacturers, to be able to put Neo back in the program after he's cut from the program and cut from the red pill, where he was ordered to take the red pill by the Smith agent, or he would be terminated and his family with him. So you can see how they simplify everything down. They even took out the family relationship, which is, we can talk about later about the little girl train station and such.
Exactly. Yeah. Next episode, we'll be getting into more of the background detail. Today, we're just kind of going over the foundation and the history of how this all developed. And also, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about the players here in a minute, but I think that kind of starts with Iron Man 2 that came about in 2010. How does that start to lead in some of the people who then became involved with the technology through that movie?
What they do is they take failed players. The Wachowskis failed at everything they did. Their mom even joked all they did was video games. Suddenly they're being the authors of The Matrix, right? Producers, writers, and directors. All right. You have Elon Musk failed at what he was doing. He was going bankrupt. He wasn't succeeding as an engineer. Suddenly he's offered everything, just like Keanu Reeves was failing. So the main player who played Neo. What you have is Keanu Reeves has to be introduced like a Cinderella to the public. He has to be made to look like successful. And so what they do in Iron Man 2 is they have Elon Musk appear in a cameo where you have the raceway scene and Tony Stark is saying, I want that table by the window. It's the most prominent spot, the most prestigious spot. It's already occupied by other players they haven't described, but he tells Scarlett Johansson to get that table for him. And what's happening is you see Elon Musk is seated right next to that table. So it shows a prominence. It's showing how important he is in real life. So Tony Stark goes like this. Hey, there's Elon Musk. Doesn't further the story, it doesn't belong there, but it allows a Cinderella introduction of Elon Musk on the film, and that's its purpose. Not for the story, but to have the audiences start to revere Elon Musk. Who is he? He's in Iron Man 2, and they're claiming that he's the real-life Tony Stark, setting him up to steal the work, Neuralink.
Yeah, they're into kind of showing symbols and that type of thing, and also another symbol from that movie was Musk Junior High School. Is that correct?
That's from the Star Trek series, back where they say Neuroenhancer and Neuralink. You're absolutely right. So when they're rebranding Neuroenhancer, my name for it from my original screenplay that's copyrighted, before 1999. They switched to Neuralink in the same series, like we said, and then they throw in, like you said, Elon Musk Junior High or Musk Junior High. So what they're doing is they are making sure that their boy they chose, like the Wachowskis to steal the story, they're making sure their boy who's going to steal the tech and mislead us, claiming it, even though he didn't create it, is going to be lauded and introduced, just like in Iron Man 2, like you so eloquently said. So what you also have in that series, besides the Musk Junior High for the main character, you also have the captain of the Star Trek series saying also that Musk was the greatest mind of our time.
Boy, oh boy, they really try to prop people up, much like they do with entertainers and even athletes, as we're seeing nowadays.
That's exactly right. They groom you to mislead the public, to take the laurels. And it has to, one of the requirements they have is that you failed. You had to be someone who failed, because then you'll be loyal to them. They have a phrase they say, if we make you, we can break you. So they expect that loyalty. And if Elon Musk ever said the truth, they would try to break him like they did me. My son's being murdered, everything else.
Yeah, so this was the way that they brought Elon Musk into the technology, and then also brought him into the story so that he could be utilized later when the actual Neuralink came out more recently.
That's right. They needed to replace the original creator of it. So what they did too was they changed the laws when our case was thrown. As soon as our case was thrown, when they had their own attorneys planted and everything to throw the case, suspended license, you name it. When they throw the case, they changed the laws of the patent office. They changed the laws, and this is crucial to understand. They changed the laws from it's no longer who published it first, the idea, the concept, or the invention. It's who spikes it at the patent office first. It wasn't even Elon Musk that spiked it. They had other guys put these like bogus descriptions of my device at the patent office, and then they hand it to Elon Musk to claim. That's even huge, that they're all about the timing. First the grooming, then the showing. First you groom them, and then you release them and give them the work. So that's exactly what they did. So they had to have others put it in the patent office, and they had to get me out of the picture by saying the laws are going to change without me knowing, as soon as the case is thrown, that it's not if you created and published it first. It's if you put it in the patent office first. And so that's now become a vehicle of the deep state, the patent office.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. They're utilizing every institution and industry to be able to take advantage of the people. Now, let me ask you, Tom, who actually developed this technology that you first put out in the Immortals, the concept? Who actually developed it to be able to pass it on to Elon Musk?
There are no names. They have a couple different ones. What you'll see, it's a great question, Kelly, because what they do is they have multiple people do the task. Just like on the Immortals copyright, you have Tom Hanks, you have Wendy Wasserstein, you have these famous people claiming they created and conceptualized the Immortal story. So it's a great question. So in the patenting of the enhancer, they have multiple people claiming that also. So if you take one down, the other one will claim it and keep going, give it to Elon Musk. So it's a great question. That's what they're doing. They're taking nobodies to claim it. And all they got to do is then they just enter it and they greenlight it.
Gotcha. Now, on a future episode, we're going to go more into the technology and the use of the technology, both pro and con. But with regard to the initial, once again, the terminology, the enhancer, the brain enhancer, and development of that, do you have anything, any other information you'd like to follow up with as part of that story here initially?
Just that they loved it. When I pitched it to Bonaventura, he loved the concept. He said, this is revolutionary. And then they put revolutions with the Matrix franchise. It's like he was so drunk on this. He thought everything had been done under the sun, he said, quote, basically, right? Everything's been done under the sun. And when he heard ours, 190 brand new concepts that they wanted to lift into a storyboard. It's like, in claim. And Joel Silver says he wanted to use up the rest of the story, right? So what you have is this centerpiece of an enhancer that was exactly what they were looking for to control a population. You can almost hear them saying, is this viable? It is. This is our golden ticket. We have to deal with this author.
Well, it seems like movies, a variety of movies, they'll come up with ideas or concepts, and then they actually make that a reality in society after the movie comes out.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, in my case, they're saying, we put you in your own film, Tom. We put you in your own film. This is Disney Contingency and others, and Warner Brothers. They say this. Their attorneys say this. They say that the real life story is bigger than the film, the Matrix series itself. And they're claiming that basically you're in your own story, the Truman Show. You're in your own story. We put you there. But that ends a whole other topic for another time of what does that really mean? If I wrote this story where even their expert witness said Tom Althouse created a fantastic story, I'm just setting the framework and not trying to laud myself. I'm just saying that that's what they say. Then that means that's my turf. That's my conception. You're in my world. And don't say, if you're putting me in my world and claiming you put me there, then you're in my world. I'm the author of that world. So good luck taking us down with a good team facing you off.
Interesting. Let me ask you this. We talked about the players. We've obviously talked about Elon Musk and kind of how he got involved with regard to the technology and the story. You mentioned briefly Sophia Stewart. Can you give us a little more background on her with regard to her involvement with regard to the story and the technology?
Nutshell is that she was supposed to be my handler. She called me immediately when the news broke on my story first. And she called me that very night when it broke in the news. And she said that I was one of the elite, not now, that my life was over as I know it, that she was going to claim Matrix 1. I was to claim 2 and 3. She called me. Oh, you just made me think of it. I didn't think of this. She called me the missing link. I never tied that in. I never thought of that. So you have neural enhancer going to Neuralink, and I'm called the missing link.
Oh.
So,
Wow.
I wouldn't have thought of that. I never made that connection until you just asked me. So she was a person from Manhattan who did her business was actually putting curses on people, lighting the candles, almost like from Ghost, from the old series Ghost, where she would be the intercessor. So she would actually be paid to put curses on people, and they took her as an in-house witch. It sounds wild, but that's what I'm told by her number one guy, Nicholas Jackson, who works for her, who also pretended to work with me. And so what you have this whole thing is he's saying that. He sent me a message I have a copy of where he says that's who she was, to be a first claimant to throw people off at Warner Brothers. And that's why they made the Oracle look like her in the theft of the version of the Matrix so that she could make that claim. But that's not a story. That's just them casting someone to look like you so they can use you in-house to steal the work and be claiming it.
Incredible. Yeah, these people that you think they're friends, we see how it turns out many times.
Always.
Now, let me ask you, Tom, in terms of the players involved, we've talked about a couple of the big ones. Is as part of the foundation, the history of the terminology and how this developed, are there any other players that we want to touch on briefly before we do a deep dive next time in terms of the technology, use of the technology and that type of thing? Any other players that we should mention at this time?
Such a great question, because yes, it's almost like a beautiful mind. If you put strings on the board on your wall and attach it, it's a very tight circle. The man who had me pitch it to Bonaventura and got the materials ahead of time and gave it to him was a player. The person that sent them was a player. The person who was standing by the law firm to throw it was a player, who made sure his nephew married my daughter, an estranged little girl is actually in the Matrix. For another time, we can name these names, but I just want to lay schematics of this. And so you have the people who set me up to get it to Bonaventura to pitch it. And it's like you have Mike Lang of Disney, who's Harvey Weinstein's boss, supplying the wife. And the attorney who is going to throw our case is her landlord on Maui. So it's a very tight circle, all from the same universities like Berkeley Law. And it's like, it's chilling to actually look at it. It's a great question. I'd love to delve into some of the actual components, who the players are, and watch that story come alive on the playbook of how to steal a work by basically doing the game with Kirk Douglas, or Michael Douglas, where they put all these players into your life to make, including your wife, to steer you down the road where they then get rid of you.
Boy, oh boy, that's a vicious circle. Well, I'll tell you what, we were going to have a couple more rabbit holes. This is just our initial one, so we can look at kind of how this all started, and so we can look in the future about the technology itself. We'll look at more detail in terms of how some of these other players were involved to kind of massage and move the deal forward, and then ultimately leading up to now and how they're playing it with regard to the technology, the use of the technology, and who's in control. So in any case, Chadwick, did you have something?
Yeah, I got a quick question. So it's kind of funny. Elon Musk and Disney are feuding really hard. I don't know if you saw that. He's like feuding with Bye Bye Gar and all this. Do you have any take on that?
Yes, indeed. That's an act. They did the same thing with Sound of Freedom. They pretended that Sound of Freedom was at odds with Disney. They weren't. They were working together. And now Disney, through Amazon, is promoting Sound of Freedom top billing. So what you have is Elon Musk is supposed to have this staged good cop, bad cop relationship with Disney, but actually they're waiting for the right time to lift him again. So right now, this is a staged feud to take our distraction and think, well, one of them's good, one of them's bad. They're both bad. It's a game.
Interesting. Well, as part of this overall game, Tom, if we're going to mention Elon Musk, we got to mention him taking over Twitter, which is now X. How does that tie into controlling the narrative and that type of thing?
Absolutely. Twitter is the only platform that I was really shining on and able to get through. And then he takes over, and suddenly we are shadow banned, basically like crazy, where no one can access me. If you put my name in, people couldn't even find me. Even by putting in my name and seeing the picture of my profile, they couldn't find me. And he actually did a meme where he shows a gray figure, which is very interesting. And this chip is being inserted on the top of the head, and it says Elon Musk is evil. And he makes a statement after I did an interview, right, where I was saying Elon Musk is involved in this, doing this evil stuff. And he goes, how can I be evil if I'm inserting the chip? Well, the chip that's being inserted would, in the correct cartoon, wouldn't be Elon Musk is evil. The chip being inserted is Elon Musk is the savior of humanity. Savior of humanity. That's what the chip would read. So yes, so putting it back the way it's supposed to be, yes, Elon Musk, you just proved it against yourself. That is what I'm saying. You are using it to make yourself out to be some kind of god.
Yeah, unbelievable. Just once again, that tangled web. I'll tell you what, this series, Running for the Hills, that's the bad guys, because I think we have them on the run, but yet they still continue to try to attack. They're kind of like a wounded animal at this point. The narrative has changed. They've lost the media control, and I think the truth is coming out, and that's what we do here at Liberty Report and Kelly J. Patriot. We try to get the truth out, and as I've said for years, seek the truth and keep the faith. And I know, Tom, you've been under attack for a long time, and when we were talking last night, you had airplanes, small planes flying over your home, shining their lights, and then ultimately you had a helicopter above your home that was so loud and so close to your home that things were shaking. Are you still under attack?
I'm sure they'll be back, but right now we're not. But this has been great, guys. This has been great. I got to run, but I'm looking forward to next time. This will be fantastic.
Hey, I tell you what, this is this is Rabbit Hole number 1. We'll be back soon with Rabbit Hole number 2. Tom Althouse, Running for the Hills. Thank you so much for your time, Tom. Have a great dinner tonight. And on behalf of Liberty Report Live and Kelly J. Patriot, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you again soon. And as you know, we're here to serve God's army. And if you can see me and you can hear me, that means that your parents chose life. God bless you, and God bless America. Until next time.
Thank you so much for doing it, guys. I'll see you soon.
Thank
Love you, Tom. Be safe, brother.
God bless you, Tom. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.